everybody. Raul here for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the extraordinary honor and pleasure of talking with bassist, synth bassist, producer, Ralfy Valencia, also known as Fafa. Ralfy, welcome to Bass Musician.
Hey, happy to be here. Honored to be a part of this, man.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, Ralfy, we always like to go to the past, and you've got quite the story. Tell us, how did you get started in music and particularly on bass?
My father is still a professional musician, bass player. So I grew up watching him just play different gigs, different opportunities, work with different artists of different kinds. And it was a big influence for me. And I think in middle school, I took an elective class of acoustic guitar. And I would learn like Nirvana riffs, power chords and stuff like that. And then just get home and then pick up my dad's bass and try and kind of transfer that over. And he caught me one day and he was like, no. If you're going to pick up my bass, you're going to learn how to play the bass. And then he started to give me lessons from there. And then it just kind of grew. I got bit by the bug and been chasing, just that craft ever since. Been trying to get better and better on what I do and following in my dad's footsteps. That are impossible to fill.
So did he sit down with you and also teach you? Because I know sometimes it's hard to learn from our parents when...
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he did. He used to give me private lessons, one-on-one on technique and learning my scales and stuff like that. And I was never really good at reading. That was what I struggled with the most. So in middle school, I auditioned to be in a jazz band, the jazz program there, and I couldn't read a note. So I would learn the music by memory at home with my dad, and then come in and pretend to read, and just have the chart in front of my face and not know what any of it meant. And I did that for quite a while. But yeah, my dad gave me a lot of my very first fundamental lessons all the way through high school. And with that being said, it's not easy because it's my dad, and you're going through your young prepubescent ages and then your teenage years, and you want to be rebellious and not listen to dad, and it's kind of like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But no, he was pretty cool with me, and we would jam, and it's been a long time since we've did any of that, and I kind of want to go back to that. I'm going to talk to him and see if maybe we can kind of just shed together.
Nice. Well, and at a very early age, if I understand correctly, you decided to pursue more formal studies at the Los Angeles College of Music, or it was known something different now, but it is now Los Angeles College of Music. Tell us a little bit about that whole process.
So in high school, I met with the drummer in the jazz band at the time, but his name was Odair, and we started a band together, and we decided to just pack our bags one day. I wasn't a good student in high school. I didn't graduate on time, and it was my senior year, and I was like, you know what? Let's pack our stuff and go to LA and make it as a band. And so we did that. We drove to LA, and I sent an audition tape over to what was formerly known as the Los Angeles Music Academy, LAMA, and now it's the LACM. I sent an audition tape to the school, and Tom, the president, founder of the school, was kind enough to give me a scholarship to go, and I studied there for a year and a half, and I learned, man, the bulk of my knowledge, I guess, as an educated musician, was in that program, and it was awesome. And I had great teachers like Jerry Watts, Philip Bino. We had Jimmy Haslip come and do master classes, Victor Wooden, you name it. It was just the greats would come in and just have like morsels of information that you could just have. And it was only 8 of us in my bass class, so we got a lot of one-on-one time. It was a growing school then, and I studied with Tal Wilkenfeld was also there at the same time as me. And I learned so much there, man, with a lot of the students and a lot of the educators that were there. It was a great experience.
Very nice. Well, and with a lot of these educational facilities, one of the big things that you kind of come away with is networking. You get to know a whole lot of other musicians, and you get to figure out who you could work with possibly. And a lot of times, lifelong relationships will come out, so that if you're working on a project, you go, hey, I need this, I need a trumpet player. I know who I'm going to reach out to because you've been networking. What other takeaways did you get? Because from what I remember hearing is that you really went in deep while you were there, and you were playing like every time you could get a chance to get in there and play with as many people as you could.
I feel like I did and I didn't. And there's kind of like a little bit of regret of wishing that I went a little harder in my shed and just kind of taking it seriously, because you're surrounded by so many different people there. And that's what kind of makes LACM so awesome, is that you're seeing different people from different walks of life, completely different ages, ranging from like their teenagers to like their 50s and plus, all in your same class, all trying to learn and get better in their craft. And then you just learn how to vibe with each person. So it's like a melting pot of different people from all over the world, exchange students from Asia, from you name it. And you get to just kind of hang and learn from each other, and just kind of you make a lot of friends that way. And I feel like that is like, it's not a class that they teach you, but you're learning how to network by dealing and interacting with people that you normally wouldn't be put in this scenario with unless you were there.
Gotcha. Well, and from there, you kind of your lunch, once you left the school, what did you do next?
I graduated from Llama. I quit the band that I was in at that time. We're still good friends today, but I was just homesick. So I drove back to Miami. I got my GED and then started to attend a community college in Miami-Dade. And I was in the jazz program there for some time. Took more theory classes there. By this point, I was able to read music because I learned at Llama how to become a better reader. Mm-hmm. And just started to play more local gigs. I started to sub for my dad at his gigs. When he couldn't make it, he would let me sub, and we would kind of just keep the finance coming into the household. And then from there, I started a hip hop group. It was like a jazz infused hip hop group named Artificial, and we had a steady run for about 12 years. And throughout the midst of that, in recording, I was able to meet some people like DJ Infamous and Matt McGinley, who was the original drummer of Gym Class Heroes, and that's how I ended up landing that gig through a session at Criteria.
And I know that some people, when they look at you, they may go, "Hey, wait a second! I think I've seen that guy with Pitbull. You've currently been playing with Pitbull. How did that whole gig come about?"
So, as I was like just playing local gigs in Miami, I was put in with different bands and different musicians, and some of them became good friends of mine over the years. One of them being Carlos Palmet, who is Pitbull's drummer. He has been now for the past 10 years. And Leo Brooks, who was the original bassist for Pit. He used to sub for me in Miami, and I used to sub for him. And we just kind of had a network going of like different cats that we can call for different gigs. I guess I was already working with Gym Class Heroes and Xavi McCoy. And around that time, the pandemic had hit. We had just finished a tour with The Offspring and 311. We finished that tour. The pandemic came. Everything kind of shut down. I moved to Ketchikan, Alaska, and I was living out there, just kind of burnt out from the music scene, not really gigging anymore. I had family over there, so I was just enjoying Alaska and soaking it all in. And Miami boy being in Alaska, just a total change of environment for me. And then one day the phone just rang, and it was Carlitos. And he said, "Hey, I threw your name in the hat so that you can be considered for taking Leo's position as the bass player." And I was like, "Oh, for who?" He's like, "For Pitbull." And I was like, "Oh shit, awesome, yeah, man, count me in. That's awesome." And then Leo ended up calling me and told me that I would be subbing for him for a few gigs. First gig would be in January, and it'll be in Saudi Arabia. And I was like, "Oh wow, okay." That gig never ended up happening, and I didn't get a phone call from anybody for maybe about 6 months. So I thought that just opportunity just fell through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And then finally, they called me, and I did maybe about 2 or 3 shows subbing for Leo. And then I found out that Leo was moving on from the bass player position because he was signed now as a country artist and was pursuing that as a career. So went from, hired gun to now they're working on making a tour for him. And they offered me a position to tour. And I've been now rocking with Pitbull and Team Pitbull and the agents and the Most Bad Ones for 3 years now.
Nice.
And it's been an awesome ride.
Very cool. Well, and it's very interesting because also the music, because it sounds like you're very comfortable in a lot of the kind of genres. Again, as we've been evolving musically, the whole movement, with between hip hop, reggaeton, which I know a lot of what Pitbull is known for, and stuff like that. You've kind of landed in the middle of this, and you're comfortable with all that. That's kind of cool. As we probably be a good time to talk a little bit about gear and how you're getting your sound for this. What are you using? What are you playing on?
I have been a diehard, forever loyal fan and endorser of Fender products since my dad gave me my first Strat when I was 15. And it was around 2018 when I was with Gym Class Heroes, and they told us that we were going to do a special performance at the Fender factory. And I got to meet a lot of the people over there that do the custom shop stuff, and made friends with Billy Siegel, who is one of the legendary dudes for Fender. He is the guy, the man. And at that time, I didn't have a Fender when I walked into the factory. I had a Marcus Miller Sire bass.
Okay.
And so I walked in, I was going to play the show with that, and they were like, no. You just walked into Fender. Pick out whatever bass we have here on the wall, and then when you're done playing the gig, pick out whatever bass online in the catalog that you want. We're going to send it to you, and then put that bass away.
Yeah.
So I was floored. I got to, I came home with an American Deluxe right before the Ultras, a 4-string, turquoise, beautiful bass. And I've kept in contact with Billy ever since over the years. And every single time a big tour or a big opportunity comes up and I have a chance to put Fender on air or in camera or whatever, I just hit him up and he's always there for me every single time. So I have nothing but love and respect for that guy and for the whole Fender team. Nice. Aside from Fender, I've been working with Trickfish.
Okay.
Trickfish and my buddy Justin Huth over there, who helped me get my rig situated for the Pitbull stuff. I just reached out, kind of a blind email saying, hey man, I just got this gig. I'm playing with Pitbull and we're going to be doing this North America tour. And I've heard nothing but, great things about your product, and I would love to put it out there. And spoke with Justin, and he was super cool. And that amp head and cab combo is probably the best amplifier and cab combo that I've ever played. I was with Aguilar for a while before that, but Trickfish, I don't know. There's just something about the tone that I get out of that just makes me feel like it's more me.
Nice. Are there any more elements of stuff?
Yeah. I play a Subsequent 37 Moog synthesizer.
Okay.
Shout out to my buddy Joe over at Moog. And that kind of came to me as something new. I wasn't really ever like the bass player guy. I always wanted just to play bass. Just give me my bass and let me play. And for this gig, it like you said, it has a lot of hip hop and it has a lot of reggaeton and a lot of sampling and a lot of just different sounds that wouldn't normally come out of a bass.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it upon the recommendation from our musical director at the time, Rob Trujillo, who is another bass player. He's the musical director for Louis Fonsi and for Karol G, and a phenomenal musician and arranger. He had already kind of arranged some parts for me to play some synth lines and stuff, so I just kind of said, you know what, I'll do it. And I love it now. I really enjoy just kind of going back and forth, playing a little bit of synth, playing a little bit of bass. Other than that, I have a pedal board where I got like a Digitech whammy, um, a Boss octave pedal. I got like a Cooper Effects Gen Lo-Fi pedal and an Avalanche Run from Earthquaker.
Nice. Nice. Do you have a preference in strings?
Yes. My preference in strings has always been DR.
Gotcha.
DR high beams all day, every day.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, and then there's one more element that's not as much about gear, but I noticed it in some of the pictures. Your strap is Anthology.
Anthology gear, yes. Big shout out to Katya and that whole team over there. They make their straps are handmade with the top quality leather, and they're like wider than normal straps, so it covers more surface area on your shoulder. It's less like, bases are heavy, man.
Yeah.
And they kind of cater to just making it more comfortable for the musician. And they have been super cool with me too. Every time there's a tour, they show me love, and I get the the honor of showing them love every time I'm on stage and shouting them out whenever I can. So, Anthology gear rocks.
Very cool. Very cool. So as we look ahead, I know right now you're enjoying some well-deserved time off. What is in the works? What's coming down the pike?
Right now, I'm home in Miami. It's 50 degrees. I got to play a little golf today. I'm hanging out with my family. And then in a few days, I'll be heading back to Vegas. We have a Vegas residency at the Fontainebleau Hotel where we'll be doing, I think, 4 or 5 shows. Actually, maybe 2. I'm not sure. We got a few shows coming up in Vegas.
There you go.
And then after that, we're gearing up to hit Europe. We're going to do a run in Europe. And then we have a summer tour. I'm not sure exactly the details on that tour. I've heard things through the grapevine. I'm not allowed to say some things, but
Sure.
There were some talks about maybe stadium. I don't know.
Okay. Cool.
Fingers crossed with that. But yeah, it's a busy year. We're supposed to hit Europe a couple of times. We have a summer tour going on, and then I think maybe I also heard some things about going to Australia this year as well. So I'm very excited to be traveling and grateful.
Nice, nice. And if people want to stay on top of what you're doing and where they may be able to see you, where would the best place to look be?
Probably Instagram. I'm not really like a huge social media guy. I was at one point posting more often. I just kind of throw up stories every now and then when I am playing with or jamming or doing sound check or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But my Instagram is @_RALFY_ at Ralfy. Oh, sorry, Ralfy V_.
Gotcha. Nice, nice. Well, Ralfy, we appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule to chat with us and certainly hearing your story. It's very inspiring, again, I think, for a lot of young musicians to think, that you could be at some point on stage with somebody like Mr. Worldwide. So that's just very impressive. Folks, you've seen him here on Bass Musician Magazine, Ralfy Valencia.
Thank you so much, Raul. I appreciate you. Thank you, man.